I was called the broke daughter by my own family, abandoned at the airport while they flew off for a luxury vacation. What they didn't know was that I wasn't powerless, and my birthday would change everything. This is the story of how resilience, secrets, and a little justice reshaped my life. I never thought a day at the airport would feel like being buried alive. My parents and my older brother, perfect in their polished designer clothes and smug grins, were leaving me behind. "Why can't you come, Emily? You're always such a downer," my mother said, clicking her heels toward the luxury terminal. My brother snorted. "Seriously, just stay home. Don't ruin our vacation vibe." I stood frozen, suitcase in hand, as they disappeared behind the sliding glass doors. The finality of it hit me like a punch. My own family didn't care if I existed. But as the echo of their heels faded, so did the fear. I wasn't powerless. I had my secrets, and they didn't know the half of it. For years, I let them think I was struggling, living paycheck to paycheck in some dead-end retail job. They called me broke daughter at every family gathering, laughing at my failure. What they didn't know was that I had a real job, one that gave me independence, influence, and an income they couldn't even imagine. I worked in finance, managing accounts for high-profile clients, and I had built a nest egg that could fund a small country. The second secret? Today wasn't just any day. It was my birthday. Not that my family cared. After all, they didn't even wish me when I was 10 or 15 or 20. But birthdays have a way of flipping the script, and this one was about to do just that. I sat on a bench near the departure gates, gripping my phone like a lifeline. They thought abandoning me here would humiliate me, but I had other plans. I opened my bank app and smiled. Enough funds for a first-class escape from their judgmental world. Enough funds to remind them that the broke daughter they dismissed was, in fact, unstoppable. The first step was simple. I wouldn't go home. I wouldn't run back to their rules. Today, I would let them feel a fraction of the discomfort they'd imposed on me for years. I booked a flight, not back home, but to a city where my reputation and independence mattered more than their approval, New York. I treated myself to a suite overlooking Central Park, champagne waiting in the room. I laughed, alone but victorious, thinking of their shocked faces if they knew. And then, I sent the first subtle message of my revenge, a photo from the suite, captioned, "Having a lovely birthday getaway, wish you were here." I knew they'd see it. I knew they'd feel the sting. But that was just the beginning. Over the next week, I played my role perfectly. I posted photos of my birthday celebration, my life of independence, my career milestones, and invitations to events that they would never get access to. Meanwhile, I made a list. Every insult, every dismissal, every time they called me worthless. I wrote it down, not to dwell on the pain, but to remind myself of how far I'd come. Then I took it a step further. I anonymously tipped off a mutual acquaintance to the fact that my family had bragged publicly about abandoning me. Within days, the social circles they prized themselves on were buzzing with whispers of their cruelty. It came when I returned to my city. I knew they would expect me to show up, beaten down and apologetic. Instead, I walked into the same room with poise, radiance, and a confidence they'd never seen in me before. "Emily," my mother stammered, her smile faltering. "I had a wonderful birthday," I said casually, setting down my designer bag and ignoring the sting of their disbelief. "And I thought of you all often." Really, I did. The silence that followed was more satisfying than any applause. They had underestimated me for decades, and now the scales had tipped. In the weeks that followed, I didn't just rebuild my relationship with myself. I thrived. I launched a side business, invested wisely, and surrounded myself with people who saw my value. My family? They tried to pull me back into their world, guilt-tripping and demanding explanations. But I had learned my lesson. No one gets to define me but me. Every birthday from now on would be mine, celebrated with pride, not pain. Every insult thrown at me would now serve as a stepping stone, not a weight. One evening, I received a text from my brother. "You were right, Emily. We were wrong." I smiled, set my phone down, and went to open a bottle of champagne. I didn't need their acknowledgement to know my worth. I didn't need their approval to celebrate my life. That day, I realized that being abandoned was the gift. Being called broke had been the push I needed to become unstoppable. And the birthday? It wasn't just a celebration. It was my rebirth. I had taken their cruelty and turned it into power, and no one, not even my family, could take that away. Sometimes, the people who are supposed to love us the most can be our harshest critics. But the power to reclaim your life lies within you. Resilience, hard work, and self-belief can turn abandonment into triumph. If this story resonated with you, remember, your circumstances don't define you, your courage does.
If this story gave you chills, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen play out?